Hey guys, so what is up and welcome back to my channel. Thank you guys so much for clicking on and joining me in today's tutorial. We are doing this Foxy Smokey Eye Wing and we are using the new Kylie Kendall collaboration palette. Looks like this. This is the only thing that I picked up from this collection. So yeah, excited to get in here and play. I do give you guys my review and my final thoughts at the end. I do want to keep this intro short. So if you guys are new, welcome to the video on my channel. Thank you guys for clicking on. I'm Lauren Jade. I am 58. I have mature, crepey, wrinkly skin with hooded eyes that are slightly downturned. So I'm always looking for ways to pass my tips and tricks on to you guys so you guys can rock your hooded eye situation and mature, crepey skin if that's what you got, because that's what I've got over here and that is what I'm working with. So yeah, I do want to keep this intro short. If you guys are new, I would love to have you guys join me. Please hit the subscribe button and the post notification bell right next to it. That way YouTube notifies you each and every time I upload. And yeah, so if you guys want to see how I created this look, then just keep on watching and let's get right into this tutorial. Okay, I just want to show you guys this bronzer really quick. This is the Lemur. This is the 2020 limited edition bronzer, and oh my gosh, it smells amazing, and it's as beautiful on as it looks in the pan. I wanted to try this without any you know, bronzer on, so all I have on my face is foundation and this bronzer, and I love it. You guys know that I layer bronzers. I always use two bronzers. So when I have something like this, this is the Kevin Aquan, this is the Sienna bronzer. When I have several types of these types. I have a Guerlain, I have like a whole bunch of bronzers that are kind of similar to this where they have like a mixture. And usually what I do is I will take like a powder brush. This is the La Mer powder brush, and I swirl all the colors together. So I just wanted to show you guys that bronzer, and let's get into it. All right, I just had to show you guys that bronzer because I absolutely love it, and I'm so happy that I added it to my bronzer collection. And yes, I know I need to do a bronzer video because I literally have so many bronzers, and there's so many great ones, and I was like, oh my god, you guys need to know about these because I'm just such a bronze fanatic. All right, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go into this Cara Beauty palette. I love this palette because it has these bone color shades. Some of them have like a peachy undertone. Some are like a warm, almost like a soft ochre type, like an undertone, like a light yellowy. Anyway, a lot of bone shades you can see right there. So I'm gonna go ahead, and I've primed already. I use my Max Paint Pot here in soft ochre. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this really light shade, and I'm going to go right underneath the brow bone with this, just because I really want to highlight the shape of my socket bone here and also bring to the forefront my brow bone, because when you have hooded eyes, not only do you have to, quote, fake in a crease, you also have to create the illusion of a brow bone because you just don't have that. Somebody that has like deep set eyes, for example, they have a very prominent brow bone. It's like those skeleton eyes, you know, that are set so far back and their brow bone really protrudes out, and they've got this deep set crease, which is like a garage, right? Like a place for your car. It's like a place for your eyeshadow to go. And so they have this brow bone that just like goes out. But when you have hooded eyes, you don't have that. You have a skin fold, some skin that hangs down over the lid. I didn't ask for it to be there. I was born with this eye shape, so it is what it is. You just have to make the best of it. But we do have to create the illusion of a brow bone as well as a fake crease. So I'm going to keep this area right underneath here really light and bright. I'm also dusting a little bit onto the lid here. Kind of mapping out my lid space here, kind of setting up for the shape that I'm going to create. All right, from my Benefit Cheek Leader, the Bronze Squad, I'm grabbing this Hoola bronzer over here, and I'm just going to dust the tiniest bit up here, this upper socket here, really kind of up towards like the brow, and then kind of connect it in with the nose contour just ever so lightly. I'm just gonna kind of dust this and push this up. I love how that looks, and I'm catfishing. You want to really look down into your mirror so you can get up really high, get into that upper inner socket area right there, and I'm going to push this up towards like the brow. In the new Kylie Kendall collaboration, the only thing I picked up from the collection is this palette, so that's what we're going to be using today. I'm going to go into the shade I'm Telling Mom, and I'm going to use a MAC 224 for this step. I'm going to dust this through the socket, kind of connecting it into like where I started with that bronzer. Taking this up to that brow area, the socket here, and just kind of connecting it into this little area here, and then staying right in that socket and just coming right down and just really kind of connecting it. I'm going to flick this out and feather this out towards like the temple. And because I like my eyeshadows to always kind of go up, I am going in an upward, almost like in a diagonal, just to connect into this upper socket region here and even into like the brow area. A little too high and you're kind of losing that brow bone highlight, just go back in. And I do this a lot of times because eyeshadow is never one step, right? It's a lot of back and forth, it's a lot of tweaking, it's a lot of, you know, you got to go back in and touch up this color because this one lost its intensity. You got to reapply this one just to kind of bring back that depth. I mean, it's a lot of back and forth. So just go back in and, you know, put that color in and then just kind of drag it down and it'll kind of catch the edges of the transition shade. And then you kind of got that lightness back in there, and then you can go in with your fluffy brush and just kind of marry them two together, marry those edges so that it's nice and airy. That's what we want. I'm gonna switch to a smaller blending brush. This is still a tapered one. This is a Anastasia 825. So I'm gonna go in and I'm just gonna kind of build up this crease right out here, this outer crease. And the nice thing about doing it like this is that this is the exact same shade, right? But because you're deepening up the pigment and you're just kind of going in with a little bit more, and I'm also pulling this up again towards the brow because I like everything going upwards. So you're just kind of deepening the crease out here, right? But it looks like it's a different color when it's the exact same color. So I love doing those kind of monochromatic type, you know, looks like with the crease color blending into that transition shade, because it's just, I mean, blending is a no-brainer. You're not worrying about, you know, blending two shades and you're getting the depth that you want. I'm putting also a little bit out here onto the outer corner of the lid. I'm just going to kind of build up some color here onto the lid, taking this up towards the brow. I like everything kind of, and when I get done with my wing, I'm probably going to go back in and deepen that up. I'm going to take this shade right over here. This is the Scorpio Energy shade right here. And this one doesn't seem to have as much kick up, you know what I mean? Like it's not a major sandstorm. Obviously there's a little tapping off here. I'm gonna put this on this outer lid here just to kind of start to kind of create the shape that I want, and then I'm gonna kind of bring it in just a little bit. This color I'm keeping below everything else as always. And I'm just putting this on this outer. I'm not even taking it all the way down to like the lash line because I'm going to be doing my wing. I just want to kind of get a little bit of this color in, not much. I'm going to pick up just a tiny bit of that orangey shade that I'm telling Mom, and I'm just going to kind of go over the border of that, keeping it low. Just kind of go right over that border, and then I'm going to kind of pull it out to kind of whoosh, just to kind of go along with the shape of the extended wing that we're going to do. All right, so for my Foxy Eye extended wing today, I'm going to be using these shadow shields. You can use tape. I've used paper tape, which I actually like because I feel like paper tape is not quite as, you know, harsh stickiness as like a regular like Scotch tape. But whatever you have that works. If you are using tape, put it on the back of your hand a couple times and flick it off so you get that harsh stickiness off. You can use something like this, like the edge here. I've used like a playing card, a business card. I mean, I've done this so many times with so many different things, just whatever works for you. We're gonna go into the Kylie Bronze palette. Now I'm using this palette as opposed to the extended one because it's got this black in it. So using an angle liner brush, I'm gonna use the Sigma E65 one because it is very, very soft. It's not gonna give me that harsh whoosh, that harsh dramatic line that sometimes we want. This one is softer and just is going to work better. I'm just going to take this light shade and I'm just going to map out where I want to place these shadow shields. So I'm going to follow my lower lash line and kind of think about the lash line is going up. If it were going straight on up, where it would kind of connect in with like the tail of the brow. So I'm just going to put in a little wingtip right there. And that's going to be my guide for lining up these shadow shields here. And then I'm just going to put these on. You can also cut this in half. I've done this before with just folding it and just cutting it in half and just using half. But I like having the full because this will catch also any fallout. Plus, it also goes up a little bit higher so you can be a little bit more free with like your blending. I'm gonna get that lined up here. All right, don't worry if these are not 100% even, because when you do take them off, you will be able to go back in and kind of tweak. The goal is always sisters, not twins with eyes, because they are not 100% even. Now, for me, I like to put these on at the end when I do my wing, just because I like to be a little bit more free and really kind of blow out that transition shade towards the temple. It just gives me more of that nice, airy, airbrushed type of effect when I'm blending. So that is why I like to put these on at the end. But you can do you and put these on also at the beginning. It will also give you a nice guide as to kind of where to stop with the shadows if that's what you want, and just kind of keep that alignment going. Either way, these things are great. All right, we're going to start with this. We're going to build from light to dark, with the final shade being the black, which is going to be the closest to the lash line. I'm going to start with Tigereye, which is this one right over here. It's a warm tone shade. Now this one, they're both soft tone browns. This one has a little bit more of a cool tone undertone, so you know, whichever you prefer. I'm going to start with this one, and I'm going to start just kind of sweeping it along the lower lash line. I'm going to kind of keep it close. This is going to be a nice little backdrop, kind of, I guess, if you will, for the other shades to kind of blend into, just because you're not going to really see this because it's kind of a lighter brown. But again, it's going to be a nice blending tool shade, so these other shades will just kind of melt in, and then you will get that kind of gradient fade from brown to the black, which is kind of what we want. All right, so I am building up on this shade right over here, just kind of building up the intensity on this one. I'm keeping this one a little bit lower than that first brown one. I mean, that first brown one was just basically like a backdrop for these other shades. And I'm kind of keeping this lower, closest to the lash line. I'm not taking this up as high as I did that first brown one, which again was just kind of a backdrop. And I'm just following the lash line here and sweeping it on up alongside the shadow guard. And the nice thing about this is it is a smoky wing. So, you know, the application is, of course, smoky, can be a little bit more effortless with your blend here. And we are going to get that gradient fade going from the brown to the black. Build up this color a little bit here. Into the darkest brown in the palette, and then we're going to go into this black. And I have switched now to a flat definer brush. This one's a little bit more dense on the tip, which I like because it's going to give me more of that smoky application as opposed to like one that's like super flat. Give me that sharp line, which is what I don't want. So I'm going to start with the brown, and I'm going to start by kind of stamping it into kind of like the root of the lashes, and then kind of smoking it up just a little bit. And then I'm not going to do my little wing yet. I'm going to just stamp here and kind of smoke. And then when I get out here, I'm just going to do a little wingtip right along the edge here, and then just kind of connect it. I like to connect it a little bit at a time as opposed to, you know, drawing the wingtip and then going all the way back in. I find that if you do your lash line first and you do your little wingtip and just kind of connect it from, you know, the edge here to the point as you go up higher, it just gives a nicer effect. All right, so the black liner is on. I switched to a Sigma E65. It's a small angled liner brush. And I did it the exact same way that I did the brown. I stamped and wiggled it closest to the lash line. So I did my upper, so I did the lash line basically first. And then I followed alongside the shadow guard and my lower lash line going up, created the little wingtip. And I connected it bit by bit. So right over here at the edge where I have my liner, I connected it to the edge here, and then I went up a little bit higher, connected it to the edge there, and just basically connected it in, as opposed to saying just starting from like the tip and then drawing that line back in. I like to connect it a little bit at a time, and it just gives a smoother, more blendable wing. I like that the best. I'm going to take this flat definer brush and just kind of tap out these edges just to get them smooth again, this edge here of the wing. And then I'm going to switch to this brush again and pick up this reddish brown shade, and again I'm just going to kind of smoke that on top. All right, now I'm going to go back to that Anastasia 825, go back into this Scorpio shade, and I'm going to go ahead and deepen up the outer portion of the lid here. I'm just going to kind of tap this into like to my natural crease here, just kind of tap that in. I'm going to kind of take a little bit of it down onto the lid. Just kind of tap that in there, and then just kind of move a little bit of that in. This shade is mainly going to be like lower, so I'm not taking this up too high. I want to keep this one pretty much on the actual lid itself, the outer part of the lid. I'm going to turn that in there and sweep that up into there. And then I'm just going to go back into that first shade that I used, the I'm Telling Mom, and I'm just going to sweep it over the border here and just kind of re-intensify that and kind of bring back some of that orangey shade right in there. Take Model Energy. Can you believe I am not using my P. Louise base today and cutting my inner crease like I do like 99% of the time? I know. Take this shade. I'm going to use this E37. It's an all over. Nice big blender, fat all over blender from Sigma. And this works perfect for the inner corner. I'm just going to swirl this in there and dust that in there and get that nice and bright because we want to really kind of catfish right there. Just boom. Boom. All right, I took a little bit of this Twice the Ice shade right over here, and I'm just going to pop that as an inner corner highlight. It's kind of like right in there. I'm using brown on the inner corner here, and then we're going to be removing these guards here. Okay, and remember the goal is sisters and not twins. If you have any unevenness, you kind of want to go back in and adjust, as well as redo like your concealer and foundation in this area, which is what I'm going to do. All right, that looks pretty even to me, but then I'm old, I can't see a thing. But yeah, I like this. I like how this looks. This is nice and even. All right, time to touch up the under eye makeup, and I will be back to give you guys my final thoughts and also have the rest of my face makeup done. I'm just touching up with some face powder here, just sweeping along the edge here. Using this bronzer here, this is the Charlotte Tillbury in the shade 2 medium. I used that one, and then I topped it, put a little bit more of this La Mer 2020 limited edition. Oh, I love this, and Oh my gosh, it smells so good. I showed you guys this at the beginning of the video. All right, that completes the look. I absolutely love this type of look. I love this Foxy eye wing. It just gives such a nice lift to the face. You get that extended crease effect. And I love, of course, the gradient smoke from the brown to the black. I just love that gradient fade of color in just about anything that I do on my eyes. So yeah. So giving you guys my final thoughts and reviews on this palette. So the shades that I did play with, really pigmented. They are really soft shadows, so you are going to get a lot of fallout. You are going to get that kind of sandstorm. You're going to get a lot of kick up when you tip your brush in. Even if you just tip it in really lightly, it's going to be a lot. I didn't experience any fallout on the face, but a lot of fallout in the pan. Even these shimmers, the ones that I have used, had really strong pigmentation. So yeah. That is it. That is what I think of this palette. But you guys know I have a huge Kylie collection, so I'm a huge fan. So, all right, guys, that's it. That completes the look. I absolutely love how it came out. Oh, I got to spray the face. All right, I got my fan here, and I'm using the Morphe Continuous Mist Setting Spray. All right. I absolutely love this lift. I love the effect that you get from this Foxy eye wing. I just love the lift. All right, guys, that's it. Thank you guys so much for clicking on and joining me today in this tutorial. If you guys like what you've seen, if you picked something up and learned something new, which I hope you did because that's always my goal here on my channel, I hope you guys will hit the subscribe button and join me if you're not joined already. And that is it. Mwah! I love you all, and I will see you guys all in my next one.